Good afternoon or evening, everyone, and welcome. I'm Stacy Varmecky, General Manager of Sales and Marketing at AIST, and we're thrilled to have you here for this exclusive AISTech Exhibitor webinar, presented in partnership with Fern. Joining me from AIST today is Cate Davidson, Manager of Sales. So as Steel's premier technology event, AISTech brings together the industry's best and brightest, and we want to ensure you make the most of your exhibitor experience. Success at the exposition takes strategic planning, and that's exactly why we're here, to provide you with the tools and insights and resources you need for a seamless, successful, and rewarding AISTech 2025. To support your planning, today's presentation will be shared with all attendees after the webinar, including hyperlinks where applicable to help you navigate key resources. Before we dive into today's content, let's take a moment to review some important policies that help ensure a fair and professional experience for all participants, starting with AIST's antitrust guidelines. Please take a moment to read the bulleted points on your screen. These guidelines prohibit discussions or agreements that could restrict competition, including pricing, costs, discounts, profits, or competitively sensitive information. All participants in AIST activities must adhere to these policies. And in addition to antitrust, AIST is also committed to fostering a safe and inclusive environment. Please take a moment to read the key points on the screen. AIST strives to provide a welcoming and respectful experience for all attendees. Harassment in any form will not be tolerated. Anyone engaging in such behavior will be required to stop immediately and may face removal from the event or further action by AIST leadership. With those key policies in mind, let's go over a few quick housekeeping notes to help you get the most out of today's webinar. So your audio is disabled, but if you'd like to ask a question, please use the Q&A feature in Zoom. At the end of the presentation, Cate will ask the submitted questions to the presenters. This session is being recorded and will be available to attendees in the coming weeks. And if you run into any technical difficulties, please email memberservices@aist.org for assistance. Let's get started. So AISTech 2025 takes place May 5 to 8 at the Music City Center in Nashville. If you're here, you've likely secured your booth or plan to do so soon. We currently have over 700 exhibiting companies and are 11% ahead of last year's attendee registration pace. So with this momentum, we expect record-breaking attendance in 2025. So today we'll cover everything you need to know, including exclusive exhibitor perks, discounted conference registrations, and guest passes, key deadlines and guidelines so you can stay ahead of critical requirements, booth setup and logistics from move-in details to best practices, material handling, vendor coordination and compliance for a hassle-free experience. So whether you're a first-time exhibitor or a seasoned participant, this session will help you streamline your setup and maximize your investment. So as I mentioned, we'll wrap up with a Q&A session, so feel free to drop questions in the Q&A feature at any time. And by the end of this webinar, we hope to take you from feeling overwhelmed to having a solid game plan ready to make an impact. So let's start with exhibitor registration. So the primary exhibit contact for each company is responsible for registering booth personnel. To do that, visit aistech.org, select registration, and click Register Now. Choose exhibitor registration, not attendee registration. So next, you'll access your company's registration portal. Select your company from the dropdown and enter your password. If you are the primary contact but do not know your password, use the Forget Password link or email sales@aist.org. If you are not the primary contact, you'll need to coordinate this portion of the registration with them. So once you've logged in, navigate to register staff. Exhibitors receive unlimited free booth personnel registrations, which include access to the exposition floor, the town hall forum. The booth personnel do not have access to plenary or technical sessions. So you'll have two registration options. Option one is for full conference registration. So each company receives one 50% discount per 100 square feet, a maximum of 6. Additional full conference registrants can be added using the second link under option one. So for option two, that's exhibitor booth personnel registration. So you can either review your 2024 personnel list and select individuals from that list to register, or add new personnel as needed. It's important to note that exhibitor badge holders gain access to the exhibit hall 1 hour before show opening each day. So be sure to register any team members who require early access through this portal. And when adding new booth personnel, first check if the individual has an AIST membership. If they are an AIST member, register them as a member. If they're not a member, register them as a non-member. So each exhibitor receives one complimentary AIST membership. You should have received an email with these details. And if you haven't, again, please contact sales@aist.org. Now you want to be sure to complete all required fields, the emergency contact, the phone number, the birth year. And then you want to finalize and confirm your registration to ensure everyone is set for 2025. So now that your booth personnel are registered, let's talk about guest passes, which is a great way to drive booth traffic. Log into the registration portal, go to your dashboard, and select the Guest Pass tab. You can share guest passes by copying and sharing your unique guest pass link via email, or you can select Invite a Customer to send them an invitation directly. Enter a custom message, add the email addresses, and the system will send the invite for you. It's quick and easy. And you can track your guest pass usage at any time in the Guest Pass tab. So this helps you follow up with invitees and maximize attendance at your booth. So with thousands of attendees expected, following these key policies will help ensure a smooth and successful event. So no minors are allowed at any time. Attendees must be 18 or older to enter. Booth space guidelines. Ensure your setup follows the official guidelines. The setup deadline, all booths must be fully set up by 6 p.m. on Sunday, May 4th. And then for photography and video, taking photos or videos of other booths or equipment without consent is strictly prohibited. Now, for complete details, you can visit our exhibitor resources on our website, where you'll find a checklist with key deadlines, rules and regulations, insurance options, the standard booth guidelines. So by staying informed, you'll help create a professional and organized show experience. Now, if you have any questions after this webinar or leading up to AISTech, our sales team is here to assist you. If you're not sure who your representative is, no problem. Simply email sales@aist.org and we'll connect you with the right person. So now I'd like to introduce our partners at Fern, a leading event services provider. With their recent partnership with Nth Degree Events, they now offer even more solutions to enhance your AISTech experience. So I'll turn it over now to the Fern team to share more, and thank you for your time.
You're muted, Steve. Right. Give me one moment here. Let's see here. Hello, everybody. And can you see my screen okay? see. Okay, so we will go ahead and get started here. First, I would like to go ahead and introduce our team. We have Sheila Pannell. She oversees the relationship with the AIST team and account. My name is Stephen Detrick, and I oversee the products and services for Fern. And Mary Fryer, she oversees, she is the director of exhibitor service and sales. And then we have Diane Rosen here today, and she is oversees the exhibitor services coordination as it relates to the show site experience and OneView. So we will go through the agenda items we have for today. We have our show schedule, discount deadline dates. We have the Fern provided services, the marshaling yard and freight management, exhibitor notification documents, the OneView portal, move out procedures, quick tips for new exhibitors. This is at the end of the presentation, so if you are a new exhibitor, I definitely recommend you stay through the presentation. There's a lot of great information there. We have Fern at your service, which is all the ways that you can contact us and work with our team, as well as question and answers at the end. So we'll have a full opportunity there for you to ask all your questions and get answers to your needs for the show. The next thing we have is we are going to start is with the show schedule. So Diane, I'm going to turn this over to you. If you can please walk us through the show schedule.
Absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. So for the show schedule, we have targeted move-ins for booths that are 20 by 20 or larger. So that's 400 square feet or larger and all machinery. That date is Friday, May 2nd from 1 p.m. to 6 p.m. All other exhibitors, move-in begins on Saturday, May 3rd from 8 to 6 and Sunday, May 4th from 8 to 6. Show hours are Monday, May 5th from 8 to 6, Tuesday, May 6th from 10 to 6, Wednesday, May 7th from 10 to 3, and then exhibitor move-out will begin at 3 p.m. on the 7th and will conclude at 10 p.m. that evening. Thursday also is a move-out day, which is May 8th, and that is from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Carrier check-in will begin on May 7th at 6 p.m. and will conclude at 8 p.m. and Thursday, May 8th from 8 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Perfect. And the next thing we have is the discount deadline dates. And Diane, can you please take us through those as well?
Sure. So our discount deadline dates are very important to remember. For the advanced order deadline, that is to receive your discounted pricing, the deadline date is April 7th. So you want to make sure that you get your orders in prior to that date or on that date. For CCR, which is our AV provider, their advanced order deadline is April 12th. And then for the Music City Center, for electrical, sign rigging, internet, and telecom, the deadline date is April 17th.
Thank you. So the next item we're going to go over here is our Fern services. These are all the services that we have available for you for your show. We have Fern transportation, material handling. We're going to go through those details, advanced direct shipments, furnishings options, turnkey and custom displays, and display and forklift labor. So the first thing we're going to cover here for Fern services is Fern transportation. Fern Transportation is the official services carrier for your show, and we have multiple services available for you. So I will go down these services. We have first is the Fern Freedom Shipping. I'll get to that more in detail at the end. We have ground LTL shipping. We have specialized quoting, expedited service, and volume and truckload shipments. Now, the benefits of Fern Transportation are pretty significant. We have all of your online tracking and tracing technology available. And then we have no waiting time, no additional waiting time costs. So this is pretty important for your show. Your show is using a marshalling yard process. And so, there's waiting times that are typically involved in that. When you're using Fern Transportation, there are no waiting times, so therefore no additional cost. You also have expedited loading dock access. So what that means is when your shipments are coming in through Fern Transportation, those are routed directly through the marshalling yard, directly to show site and into the show site for basically a very seamless process for you. Additionally, you also have on-site representation for your inbound shipment as well as your outbound shipments. We also have savings that is available to you, 50% off shrink wrapping and banding services. And now more detail on Fern Freedom shipping. So we have round trip. This includes a round trip shipping service bundled with your material handling. So you know exactly what the cost is for your shipments to come in and out of the show. You also have priority empty returns. So as we know that at the end of the show, there's typically a waiting process for the carpet to be rolled up, and then that empty returns process to go through start to finish. As you know, there's always people at the beginning of the process, and then we have people that end up falling into the end of the process. The priority empties allow your empties to be prioritized to the beginning of that priority empty return process, reducing the amount of time your priorities come back to you to just a couple hours for the start of that process. So if you would like more information about getting shipment quoted, you can call the number at the bottom of the screen. There's also information in OneView. The next thing we have here is simplified material handling costs. I'm going to turn that over to Mary.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're all excited to see everyone in Nashville, which is my hometown. So we're especially excited. We have a unique material handling rate, and it is called our one rate. And that is what it is. It's a simplified version of your material handling. It's one rate per pound. So there's no surprises involved. There's no extra fee for being late to the warehouse or early to site. There's no marshalling yard charges. There's no special handling fees if it's not crated or skidded. If it comes in FedEx or UPS, you don't have all those extra fees either. So it is really what it is. If you have a 1 pound box, that rate is the 1 pound rate. So it makes it very simple. It's your weight times the rate, and that's your cost.
Thank you, Mary. So the next thing we're going to cover is marshalling yard and freight management. And I am going to turn this over to Sheila Pannell. She's been working with your show for many years and has a lot of great information and insights about your marshalling yard and freight management process.
Hey, good afternoon, everyone. The marshalling yard in Nashville, unlike what we had in Columbus last year, it was connected to the convention center. This year in Nashville, as you know, it's a busy metropolitan area. And so we have worked with local authorities, and we have secured a temporary permit to rent space that's within 3 miles of the Nashville Convention Center. So there's going to be 2 areas within this marshalling yard. There'll be one area to stage POVs, privately owned vehicles, and then the other area will be staging commercial deliveries and commercial pickups on the move out. So the primary function of this marshalling yard is to manage the inbound deliveries for unloading and space allocation at the convention center, so we have timely deliveries. There will be directional signs placed from the convention center to the marshalling yard to help you navigate getting from point A to point B. And once you check in, you'll pull into a parking space. You'll be directed to the trailer that will be staffed with Fern employees that are managing the marshalling yard. They will have computers we'll be using Google Docs. So there will be live updates once you check in or your driver checks into the marshaling yard. Our service desk that's located right outside the exhibit hall and our loading dock foreman will have live updates on when people are checking in. So, you know, if you're at the hall early and you're waiting to check on when your shipment's going to be delivered to the hall, you could go to our service desk, talk to Diane and someone on her team, and we can let you know if your driver has checked into the marshaling yard or not. Keep in mind when we are using marshaling yards, it's a different delivery process than if you have a delivery scheduled for your warehouse in your distribution centers. There's a longer wait time. We have so many dock spaces at the convention center, maybe up to 20, but we do allocate a couple of those docks dedicated to FedEx and air freight, UPS, DHL, the smaller trucking deliveries, the small package. So those carriers do not need to go to the marshaling yard, and we keep those 2 spaces open for those type of carriers. So keep in mind when your driver checks into the marshaling yard, he will issue, or our staff will issue a dock permit. And then you'll be directed to go straight to the convention center, and then they'll guide you at the convention center. We have traffic managers at the bottom of the ramp and at the top of the ramp, and they'll guide you into which exact space to back into. So keep in mind that we had in the past, last year, we had over 100 commercial carriers checking into that marshaling yard. So there will be some wait times on the move-in as a result of that, because we don't have that many dock spaces to accommodate 100 drivers all at once. It is important to communicate to your carrier that their driver, in order to expedite the service or to keep it moving, they need to have the necessary documentation when they arrive at the marshaling yard. They need to make sure that they have a bill of lading, also known as a BOL, B-O-L, but a bill of lading. They also need to have certified weight tickets. They, most importantly, often carriers will be trying to deliver several different exhibitor shipments on one trailer. They could have 10 different exhibitor shipments on that trailer. They don't need a pass for every exhibitor, but we need all the documentation for each exhibitor. So they can't just come in and say, I got 30 pieces going to the show. We need a breakdown based on a bill of lading per exhibitor. That is key, that your carrier is well informed that we need that information, or it's going to delay the process of him having or the drivers having access to the loading dock. So the marshaling yard opens at 11 o'clock on Friday. Drivers will not have access to the loading dock prior to 11 a.m. And so a lot of them, if they're driving in, there's plenty of places that they remain outside of city limits until the time that dock opens. They can't, or the marshaling yard opens, they can't arrive at 8 a.m. and have access to that lot. So if they arrive, we start dispatching trucks to the loading dock at 1 o'clock on Friday. But we will be there setting up on Friday morning. So I'm hoping that we can have drivers access it a little bit before 11. We're going to do everything we can not to turn somebody away, but if they do show up at 8 o'clock Friday morning, they won't have access to that lot. And then from that point on, it's a first come, first serve on having access to the convention center. So once the drivers check in, they obtain their pass. It's important that they stay with their truck. If they leave the marshaling yard after they've obtained their dock pass, they will lose their space in line. So they'll have to go to the back of the line when they come back in. There's no overnight parking in the marshaling yard. That's and it's not a secured lot as well. So drivers need to check in no later than 1 hour prior to our closing time each day. So if the lot closes at 6 p.m., the drivers need to check in by 5 p.m. The other thing that I find most important that everybody make note of is during the move out, the marshalling yard opens at 10 a.m. on Wednesday. The exhibit hall closes at 3 o'clock on Wednesday. It takes 1 hour to remove the aisle carpeting. And then at that time, we'll begin to move out the display vehicles. But our priority is to get the empty crates returned to the exhibitors that we have in storage during the show hours. So if a driver checks in, if you schedule your guy at 3 o'clock to check into the marshalling yard, at the very earliest, the first truck will be dispatched at 6 p.m. to the loading dock on Wednesday night. And that's being very optimistic. Oftentimes, it could be 4 to 5 hours after the show closes. We have to get a handle on the majority of returning those empty crates. So again, if your driver's going to check in at 10 a.m. on Wednesday, he's going to be sitting in that marshalling yard until at least 6 p.m. on Wednesday night. And most often, those carriers will charge you for that wait time. So to be mindful of your budgets, please make sure you communicate to your carriers. Don't check into that marshalling yard too early because even though the show closes at 3 o'clock, they're not going to be able to access us to load out prior to 6 o'clock again. And that would be, I'm being optimistic there. So I think with the check-in at 10 o'clock at night, if we have drivers that check in on Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, if we have live drivers in there, we will work past 10 o'clock to accommodate those live drivers that are in the lot. So that's about all I have on the marshalling yard. But again, the move out is very important to communicate that information. Don't check in. Don't have your drivers check in too early, or you will incur a wait fee, I'm sure, from your carrier. And more important, if you have Fern Transportation, you pack up your booth, you turn in your bill of lading, and there's no wait time for drivers to pick up. So there's an advantage there. You might take that in consideration. So the next step is the marshalling yard for POVs, privately owned vehicles. Unlike last year, people wanting to self-unload or self-load were able to go right to the loading dock area. Nashville, we don't have the street space. The local officials won't let us line up around the building. So POVs have to check into the marshalling yard. And when we say POVs, that's a privately owned vehicle. And to qualify as a POV, that's passenger vehicles, minivans, SUVs, and pickup trucks. Uber and Lyft and taxi drivers do not have direct access to the loading dock. So if you're trying to beat the system a little bit and get an Uber to bring your boxes in, you'll have to have them drop you off somewhere else around the building, but they won't have access to the loading dock. Once you've checked into the marshalling yard, you'll be issued a POV pass, and just place that on your dashboard, and then they will dispatch you to the self-loading and unloading areas at the convention center. We ask that you try to unload your vehicle within a 20-minute time frame. Keep in mind, last year there was over 200 privately owned vehicles. In other words, 200 exhibitors with their own vehicles wanting to unload or load. So we have limited space at the loading dock in Nashville. And if you have 200 companies wanting to load their trucks, or not their trucks, but their SUVs or their cars, I mean, do the math on that. It is going to take some time. No POVs will have access to that area until the aisle carpet is rolled up. So with the show closing at 3 o'clock, the first person that's going to be able to pull into that loading dock area, it's going to be 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So plan accordingly. If you come to the service desk and say, I have a 5 o'clock flight and I need to get into that loading dock sooner, it can't happen. So plan accordingly. If you need assistance in unloading your vehicle, you're going to bring your boxes in your SUV. We do have cart service available. And so if you go to the exhibitor portal, Fern OneView, the cart service request form is in there. There's a fee attached to it, but it's a very reasonable amount. And there are guidelines. So we offer cart service for a certain amount of boxes, certain amount of weight. Otherwise, you'll apply for material handling. And I strongly, if it helps you on the move out, speed up the process, you can order it on site at the service desk for the move out if that helps you. So again, we had over 200 people check in last year to self unload and load out. So patience, everybody's got to be patient in this process. If you're one of the last ones in line, it could be 3-4 hours before you can load out your equipment on the move out. So the first challenge, once you get to that unloading area at the dock, there'll be one of our representatives there, and we will manifest the check-in times that you show up in the loading areas. If you have any other concerns about what the wait time is, you could go to our service desk and talk to Diane and her team at the service desk, and we could give you an estimated time on how long the wait is in the marshaling yard. But plan ahead. I mean, pack up your shipment, have it ready to load prior to checking into the marshaling yard. That will also help speed up times, because once you're in there, if you're just trying to get your car to stage it at the loading area, that's we really need for you to make sure your display is packed up. You will not need a bill of lading if you are self-loading your vehicles for the move out. So no paperwork is necessary at the service desk unless you're hiring us to help you provide labor to load out your vehicle. New this year, based on the surveys we've received in the past years, and as the exhibit hall has continued to grow in size over the years, last year we had over 50 machines that were displayed on the show floor. So we are including documents for exhibitors to notify us on what their intent is, on machines that they're bringing into the hall. This gives us, with implementing this notification process, we can make sure that we plan appropriately to have the right staffing and equipment there on site so we can efficiently unload your machinery. In addition, it enables us to monitor the weight of the machines coming into the hall. The convention center has a limit of 350 pounds per square foot. If your machine exceeds this amount, the advanced notification document will guide us to have a conversation with you or your company representative to address the options on how we can move forward to accommodate your requirements, such as having metal plates available to help distribute the weight. If we don't know in advance of what your intent is on the machinery, or you exceed the weight limits, that machine will not be allowed in the hall. And we also are communicating with the convention center on the machines that are coming into the convention center, as well as their engineering department. There will be some certain circumstances where they will have to approve them coming in, again, based on the size and the weight. Keep in mind the logistics of moving machinery into an exhibit floor has a big impact on your surrounding exhibitors. And if you're set to come in, moving the machines in, we've targeted those times, hoping to get them in on Friday. But if you come in on Sunday, we could be challenged, because if there are booths around you, the displays are already set. We can't tear down everybody's display to get your machine in the hall. So again, it's important to try to take advantage to meet that target time of Friday afternoon to bring machines in. I know there are exceptions, but again, once the full exhibitor move-in begins on Saturday, and all of the booths surrounding your area where that machine is going to be placed, the displays are set up, it can impact on whether you can you have access to bring the machine into the hall or not. So again, submit the document to us by the deadline date of April 7th. Our representatives will be in touch with you if we have questions to confirm what your targeted move-in time is to bring the machine in the hall. If there's any specialized equipment, we have to bring in certain things to move machines. We have to have plywood down. We have to have additional people than 1 or 2 staff to escort the machine into the building. So, and the machinery rate includes a one-time positioning of that machine. So once the machine is in your booth and somebody else from your company comes in the next day and wants to move the machine so it faces a different direction, that's not going to be an option. So again, you want to plan ahead, and we highly recommend that in addition to the driver, you have a company representative there when we're moving your machine so it is placed in the right location in your booth space. Machines that exceed 5,000 pounds need to be delivered direct to show site and not to the advanced warehouse, or any machines that are uncrated need to go direct to the show site and not to the advanced warehouse. That's important to know that, because we don't want to refuse your freight, but we also are challenged by moving uncrated machinery on trailers over to the convention center. And so then the next area we're going to discuss is the mobile display notification. In Nashville, for fire marshal, the official floor plan fire marshal approval process, we need to include all mobile display vehicles on the floor plan to get approval. So again, the notification form that's in the exhibitor portal, please complete and return that to us by April 7th so we can submit that to the local fire marshal for approval. Additional charges may apply to the mobile spotting fee, depending on what type of piece of equipment it is. If it, again, like machinery, if it requires additional labor or additional supplies to move it into the floor. But we will have that discussion with you in advance and let you know of all those charges, if any were to apply. Failure to complete and submit the notification by April 7th, you will run the risk of not being able to bring your vehicle into the show floor for fire marshal regulations and for access into the hall. So again, please, this is a new process this year on these documents, so please pay special attention to those for machinery and for mobile displays. Once your vehicle does show up at the exhibit hall, our staff will be checking the gas that you have in that vehicle. The fire marshal will not allow any vehicles in the hall that have more than 1/8 of a tank. So to avoid if you come in with a half a tank, you're going to have to go take a drive around the city for a few hours, because you can only have 1/8 of a tank. Once inside the hall, you need to disconnect the batteries and you need to remove the gas cap and tape it. So the fire marshals will enforce these rules. And if those rules aren't followed, then the vehicle cannot remain on the exhibit floor. They also ask that you leave all the keys to the vehicles there at the convention center. We can keep them at our service desk. You can keep them on yourself, but they need to remain inside the building at all times in case fire marshal needs to access those vehicles after hours. I think that pretty much that covers it. For the removal of the mobile display vehicles, we will talk to you there at show site. It is our intent that once the owl carpet is rolled up, we will start to escort your vehicles out of the building. We want you out. You'll be the first ones out. So that's a good thing for you. But again, we will have the conversation with you on site about the movement of the vehicles on the move out. They all can't move out at the same time, but it's a pretty quick process. And I'm hoping like within a few minutes after closing, we can start that process on the aisle carpeting, and then real quick, then the mobile vehicles. Again, we will make announcements, and we encourage exhibitors to keep the aisles clear. So when they start packing their displays and the aisle carpet is rolled up, to still don't put anything in the aisle, empty cartons or graphics, don't lay them in the aisle till we get the motor vehicles out of the building. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us, and we'll be glad to help you in any way we can.
Thank you very much, Sheila. The next item we are going to cover is the Fern OneView portal. And Mary is going to take us through a quick demo highlighting all the different features that we have available.
Hi, everyone, again. I really just want to touch base a little bit on what you're going to receive from us when you first get access to OneView. You're going to receive an email from us. And let me just show you really quick what that's going to look like. It's just going to come via your email. It's going to come to the main person who we have as a contact. It's going to go walk you through it. And if you've been a if you are a first-time user, you're just going to click get started. It's going to prompt you for a password. Your login's going to be your email, and then it's just going to walk you through the
Mary,
steps.
can I just pause you for a moment? Can you please
Absolutely.
share your screen?
I'm sorry?
Can you please share your screen?
Yep. Sorry about that. I thought I was. All right, here we go again. So you're just going to get this email from everybody. You're going to get it from Diane. It's going to come in. If you are the lead person on the account, you'll be the one receiving this email. If you're a first-time user, like I said, you're just going to put in your email and you're going to create your own password. If you are an existing user, which means you've been on a show before with Fern, with our company before, you're going to use your same login and your password. It's going to take you to this show. If you want to see a tutorial to get an idea of what to do, please click it. It'll walk you through it. You don't have to log in for that. And then if you have any questions, we have staff available all the time. You can reach out our 800 number. You can click the chat button, or you can reach out to Diane directly. So let's get started into OneView. Once you log in, you're going to have tons of information, and we highly recommend you to take your time to please go through all of it and take a look, place your orders, all the good stuff here. I want to highlight a few things for you, though. You've got your information about your event. You can click and add it to your calendar, so it'll send you reminders. You've got all your Fern support here. Click the email me. It'll go to Diane, and she will help you. And then you also have our 800 number that you can reach out to. Cate's information is here, and you have a link to their website also. I want to point out something very important to everyone, because even though you're the one person that's going to get this email, you can add multiple people to your booth space. So you can collaborate with anybody on your team. You hit manage, and it'll ask you information about that person, and then you can send them an invite. Everybody on your team can have all this information available. You can choose what you want to order. You can place an order for carpet. You can place an order for labor. You can put it all in your cart, just like you do at Amazon, just like you do at Etsy. And then if you're not the person that's going to pay the bill, you can then invite your accounting team so they can have access to pay this bill for you. I recommend using this with everybody on your team. We find that you can even upload your files here, so that while you're on site, everybody has access to the same files. It's quick, it's easy, it's file sharing, it's a great service. We find more people using it for their purposes than for sharing files with us. I want to point out, you've got your event information, which is basically everything that was kind of just talked about. You've got your booth space, your show schedule, all that great move out information that Sheila just told you. And a really important part is the union labor rules. I'm going to go over them really quickly. We do have a slide later to go over them again, but all that information is right here for you. Please take the time to review it. And then an important part is our shipping and material handling. Again, this is your one rate. This is the rate that you pay based on your weight of the shipment. So if you have a 1 pound shipment, you're going to pay $2.10. You can always move along this portal by different ways. I like to stay in the dashboard because it puts everything right here for you. What you want to do once you get here and look around and shop, when you're ready to fill out your outbound information, I recommend doing this in advance. That way we can have it printed off and your label's ready to go for you, and you don't have to stand in line for that information. You're going to click manage, and that takes you to the next screen where you can put in who your carrier is and where it's going back to. Always important to get that information in advance. If you don't have it and you have to do it on site, It's still going to be available for you in the portal, but you can also come to the desk and we'll take care of you that way. Now, in OneView, you have multiple ways to reach us. They will be a chat bubble for you, and you can click on it. Our chat is available from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., Monday through Friday, Eastern Standard Time. There's a bunch of information here, like I've said before. You've got your customs and your broker's information, your booth cleaning, your labor services. Anything and everything that you're looking for is going to be here. I want everybody to take their time to look through it. And again, please invite all your team members as you're doing this.
Thank you, Mary. And can you please stop sharing? Thank you. All right. Now, the next item that we're going to cover here for Fern services is Fern flooring. So AIST requires exhibitors to have floor coverings in all your exhibit spaces. We have a whole selection of flooring options from standard carpet, plush carpet, premium vinyl. Those also have all padding available for those type of floorings. We do special quoting for exhibitors that have 400 square feet or larger. We also offer daily vacuuming services. Also in OneView, there is full cleaning services and porter services available for your exhibit space. So that's available in OneView, or you can contact us via phone. The next thing we have is custom and turnkey rental displays. On the left side of the screen, we have a couple examples of large scale, large footprint exhibits that we produce. Hanging signs, we do full fabric printing. So we have that full option available for you. On the right side, we have our turnkey displays. And these are great for, exhibits that, if you're coming in from, you're an international exhibitor, you need a simple solution. You don't want to ship your exhibit over. We can assist you with having a turnkey exhibit where you order that and that is available to you right on show site. Another huge benefit to that is, included in the cost would be your material handling for the exhibit itself. There would be no additional cost for you to, for that shipment, for that display to be brought in. The next item we have is display labor services, and I'm going to turn that over to Mary for you to share with us.
Thank you. As I mentioned before, we do have these labor union rules and guidelines in our service in the OneView portal, but we just want to really touch a base on it. You are allowed as a full-time employee of the company to install and dismantle your booth yourself, or anybody who is a full-time employee of your company. However, if you use an outside labor source other than Fern, we ask that you fill out the information online for your outside exhibitor appointed contractors. And then they have to also provide us with a certificate of insurance in advance. If you plan on using a forklift service within the booth, that is separate from material handling. So what that means is if you have that machine that you need to rearrange in your booth space, you do need to order it in advance. We are exclusive for the forklift service in the facility. Forklift service is not required to order for material handling. That's part of your one rate service. And the biggest thing we want to suggest is when you're planning for your move out and your dismantle, please give yourself and your company plenty of time. Like it's been mentioned a lot of times here already today, it's going to take a while to get the owl carpet up. It's going to take a while to get those empties out to you. And if you schedule that flight at 7 o'clock to move it to get out, you're not going to have time. So to make it really convenient and easy for you, we can do your labor for you. You can just fill out your outbound bill of lading and you can walk away and we'll get it back to you easy enough. So take that into consideration when you're booking your flights. What you may spend on the labor may save you some time in Nashville and the cost of hotels and flights back.
Thank you, Mary. The next item we have is move out procedures. And Diane, I'm going to have you cover this.
Absolutely. So for the move out procedures, as everyone's been saying, the aisle carpet is removed first. We need to have all the attendees out prior to being able to do this. So we will make sure that all the attendees have left the show floor, and then we will start rolling up the aisle carpet. This takes approximately 1 hour to do. Display vehicles. The process begins after the aisle carpet, as Sheila mentioned, and we will have somebody going around on show site talking to all of those people to give them a time frame on the move out. Return of empty containers. Once the aisle carpet is removed, we will start bringing in all the empty containers. This process can take 6 to 7 hours. Unfortunately, there is that one person that's the first and there's the one person that's the last. We do our best to get them out in a timely fashion, but due to the volume of empties, it can take that long. POV dispatch begins 1 hour after show closing. This includes cartload service. We do still have to get the aisle carpet up, and so it does take that long. Heavy equipment removal, schedule provided 14 days in advance. So someone will reach out to you once you do the heavy equipment questionnaire, and we'll discuss the options of moving in and moving out. But someone will also come around at the end of the show or during the show to discuss the move out. Disposal fees. If you have anything that you need to dispose of, carpet, padding, your booth space, crates, anything like that, we can do that for you, but there is a fee for us to do so. So if you can come see me at the service desk, we can discuss what you need to dispose of, and I can provide you a price.
Thank you, Diane. And Mary, can you please cover the outbound shipping?
Absolutely. As mentioned before, there is that part in the right-hand page of your OneView portal. You can fill that out in advance. Let us know who you're picking up, what carrier is picking up for your shipment, and how many labels you're going to need. And we'll get that information filled out for you. We'll print it out. We'll bring it out to the booth. If you get it to us plenty of time, we can get that for you so you're not standing in line. It's going to be very important that you remember and you know who your carrier is, because if somebody shows up for your booth and it doesn't match the paperwork, we will not release the freight for you. It's important that they have the address correct. It's going to be the same. If they don't have the information that matches what you filled out, we will not release it. We will do our best to contact you, to talk to you, but as everybody knows, move out is a little crazy. So it's important for you to have all the correct information and give it to us. There is a small package service available in the Music City Center. We recommend, if you want to use FedEx and UPS and you're really definite want it to go that way, that you take it to them. They cannot come on to show site, and FedEx and UPS aren't really, or I'm sorry, they can't come into the floor to pick it up. But FedEx and UPS, if you schedule it in advance, it's a hit or miss with them actually showing up to pick up. Now, because of that, we offer a great service with Fern Transportation, and we recommend you coming to the desk and getting a quote from Christina, or calling her in advance, or even taking a better opportunity and doing the freedom shipping and getting those priority labels, and you guys are going to get out there very quickly. All that stuff's going to be very important. Again, I recommend using Fern Transportation, and I recommend using us for your labor services on the outbound, or you can stay an extra night and hang out with us in Nashville and take out the next day.
Perfect. Thank you, Mary. And Diane, can you please cover the additional exhibitor resources?
Yes. So for the additional exhibitor resources, Music City Center offers electrical and plumbing, internet and telecom, sign hanging and rigging, and catering. Preferred vendors, Express Leads and Lead Retrieval. CCR Solutions is the audiovisual. This information you can also find in OneView under additional services in the service manual.
Thank you. So the last item that we're going to go over here is quick tips for new exhibitors. This is one of my favorite topics to cover, but I'll go quickly here. So we have first is plan and prepare in advance. This is kind of a summation of everything that we covered here. Make sure you go look at all the exhibitor guidelines, the deadlines. You take advantage of all the discounted pricing that's available for ordering early, making sure that everything is organized and you have a show book ready to produce your exhibit. The next thing we have is engage and attract your exhibitors. Do the effort to make your exhibit is as eye-catching as possible. Have those giveaways, live demos, create an experience within that booth space. You want to also work with your staff so they are prepared and they are relaxed and they're able to approach those attendees coming down the aisle. You also want to make sure that you're going through your CRM and taking advantage of making appointments in advance for existing opportunities and new opportunities. Make sure your team is filling up your day so you have time allocated to doing demos with people within your booth space. The next thing we have is lead generation. Take advantage of the vendors on site with the lead retrieval tools like Express Leads. My recommendation is to build a solid ROI with your exhibit. Make sure you're taking those leads after the show, even same day, following up with those attendees, making sure that they know that you are interested in earning their business, and compare those leads against your CRM information. And that will give you a great opportunity to build a ROI on your exhibit and make sure that you have, that great marketing budget for the next year as well. The last thing we have is optimize your booth logistics and experience. We've talked about the move in, have a solid move out plan, make sure everything is timed out appropriately. And as we talked about, like Fern Transportation, utilizing services like that to make sure that you are in control of your budget and you're reducing cost as much as you can. The next thing we have is Fern at your service. I'm going to turn that over to Mary.
As mentioned many times, please reach out to us with any troubles or any questions or even great compliments. You can visit us on our portal once you log in. We do have our Fern contact center available again from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Monday through Friday. We have a lovely team there just waiting to answer your questions. Same with the web chat, the little bubble that pops up. That's the same team. They're very knowledgeable. They'll be more than excited to help you. And then Diane and her team and myself will be on site outside of Hall D. Please come by and see us, even if you're just going to say hello.
Perfect. Thank you, Mary. And that now takes us to our question and answer segment. And I'm going to go ahead and turn that over to the AIST team.
Okay, thank you. Let's try and get some of your questions answered that have been asked. I'm going to start at the top here and we'll work our way down. Can authors of papers use the exhibitor discount as well as the author discount? Unfortunately, we only allow one discount per registration. Can we post on LinkedIn a web link for guest passes? That's a very good question. No one has asked that question. We've never had anyone do that. We believe that you can, and don't see any reason why you can't. But if you do have an issue doing that, feel free to reach out to sales@aist.org. How would an attendee know by looking at our booth that we are an AIST member? Since our memberships are individual memberships and not company memberships, we will have a nice ribbon wall that you can get a member ribbon and adhere it to your badge to identify you as an AIST member. There'll also be a lot of other fun ribbons that you'll want to add as well. Where on the exhibit portal will the instructions be for the marshalling yard? I'll turn that over to Fern.
So there is a tab in OneView that addresses marshalling yard for POVs and marshalling yard for commercial deliveries. It's in the exhibitor portal.
Okay, thank you.
There's maps and hours and guidelines included on those documents.
Okay, if we invited guests and they already paid the $50 registration fee, can they receive a refund? if they register through a guest pass. Yes, they can. They need to reach out to member services at AIST.org or call the AIST Warrendale office to request that refund. I do ask exhibitors, though, to send the guest pass link out as early as you can just to minimize this happening. Where can we find the priority empty crate return? That is for Fern.
Christina,
So-
can you take that question?
Absolutely. The priority returns is included in the Freedom Package. So that is anyone that is requesting inbound and outbound shipping with the is included in that. That's the only way that you could receive priority labels at this time. So if you choose to do a quote, you can go into the portal under shipping and material handling. In your first tab, there's shipping with Fern, and you could put your information in there and then just select that you would like a Freedom quote.
Okay, thank you. There were several questions regarding flooring and having to remove it or dispose of it. If you order flooring through Fern, Fern will handle taking the carpet and the padding up. If you bring your own flooring, then of course you need to remove it. If you bring your own flooring and leave it and it needs disposed, that's when there will be a fee involved to get rid of that. Can we have live online streaming at our booth during the show? As far as I know, there is no issue with doing that. You may just want to have signage at your booth saying that you are doing that. If you have any further questions on that, again, you can email sales@aist.org. What type of insurance certificate is required and who is it to be addressed to? You can actually reach out to Vicki Dean. She handles all of our insurance certificates. She can be reached at vdean@aist.org. What is the deadline to order a booth display from Fern, specifically backdrops?
That date is April 7th as well.
Okay, that is all the questions. Up, let me see here. Is booth carpet vacuumed daily or do we need to order that? I can answer that. You do need to order that. And that can be done through the Fern OneView. Okay, I don't see any other questions. Just a reminder, this presentation will be sent to you to refer back to. The webinar itself will be available on the AIST website in the coming week. If you have any further questions, please email them to sales@aist.org. And if they are specific to Fern, Fern's information was mentioned in here several times, how to reach out to them. I want to thank everybody for attending today. I look forward to seeing all of you in Nashville. The sales team, as well as the AIST Member Services Group, will be located outside the exhibit hall this year. We will be in Concourse D. So thank you again and have a great day.